Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Carl, I'm a recovery coach here at Capital Recovery Center. This is our family meeting for the day. The article I have here is by AmericanAddictionFoundation.com. An article I have here is support groups for families of a drug addicted or alcoholic person. How you guys doing?
Hey, we can't be on video.
No, you guys are good.
Okay.
Yeah, you right over here. I can't see you.
Okay.
That's how we have the chairs there and the chairs over here. So guys, we'll hop right into it. Family support groups are lifesavers. Support groups can save the life of an affected family member by providing hope and allowing them to be heard. There's an incredible relief of stress when these confidential gatherings take place. Support groups can also help save the lives of the addicted individual who is out using because participants in the family support groups offer caring help and advice. Learn from their time facing addiction in their own lives. This advice can make the difference between enabling your loved one into the grave or implementing healthy boundaries with everyone's best interest in mind. When your family member is addicted to alcohol, opiates, or any drug, you're likely desperately trying to find a way to help them. Life becomes focused on the addict's problems and you live with fear. You may even blame yourself for their addiction. The ongoing drama and multiple problems caused by loved ones' addiction create chaos in the lives of everybody around them. Addiction is painful for everybody who's involved with the using individual. By getting support, your choice to take care of yourself, create healthy boundaries in your relationship will be the most helpful action you can take for your sick loved one. So I actually love this family meeting because like the addict just doesn't suffer, the family also suffers. And like I knew it was causing pain to my family, but I didn't know the extent of it. Like, I was always getting bailed out of jail. Um, my family would always help me with money. So I was taking a lot from them. And my mom still suffers from I don't want to say PTSD, but like she still remembers those times like when she had sleepless nights. So like, I really made an impact on my family. It's just not I suffered, like everybody around me suffered. And thank God that she stood by my side and it was tough. It's definitely tough for the family, tough for the addict. And just like as an addict in recovery, they also have to go through their process of recovery, you know, because like we cause a lot of pain and harm to them, right? So they still have to go through their process just like I got to go through my process. So there's some support groups. We're going to touch on it. There's Al-Anon, Al Team. There's also a lot of support groups for the families and, therapy, counseling. It's always good to get, family counseling. Also by, individual counseling, but sometimes it's good to come together and, uncover some things that happened in the past. And the next one is enabling addiction, how your help can actually harm the alcoholic or addict. Many of us have inadvertently provided support for addicted loved ones in ways that are not beneficial. When we take our responsibilities like providing financial support for an addict, we are helping that person to continue using without facing the natural consequences of active addiction. Actions which can enable your loved one to continue using include providing housing, paying their bills, lying to cover up for them with family, friends, employers, bailing them out of jail, and paying for attorney. It was just touching on that, like,
I have to say, I did each one of them for myself.
yeah, because we do it out of love. We do it out of love, and like my mom, thought that she was helping me, and she was in a way, but it was driving me deeper in my addiction. Like we were cushioning them consequences. I knew who I can get a hold of that bail me out or help me out. Like I knew that back in my mind
Mhm.
that I use that to my advantage. And it's sad. You know, it's not personal, but it's just what we
And as a
do.
mother, you want to help your child no matter what. You don't think about those consequences on your behalf until your eyes are open wider.
Yeah,
So then you don't give money, you take food.
yep,
You don't pay a bill, you're gonna work to pay that bill,
yeah,
you know? So I learned a lot of that,
Yeah.
and it drove me nuts when he didn't have a phone, or if he had a phone and he didn't pick up.
no contact with them.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and walking streets looking for him
Yeah,
by myself. And,
it's where your heart's at. It's what you mean. It's where your heart's at. It's your child, it's your family member, or whoever the case may be. You know, it's your loved one,
exactly.
and you will do things even to this day.
You want
you
their
know,
life to be easier than what yours.
yeah, you don't want them going through that stuff.
Exactly.
You know, you'd rather help them out than see them, suffer.
Mhm.
And I get it. It's like no right or wrong thing to do when you get a family member. When they're stuck in that, it's tough.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I
It's
mean? It's
tough.
definitely tough, and it's like,
And then you feel guilty if you don't help and then something happens.
yep. But there's like what I've learned is like healthy boundaries,
Mhm.
because then you're putting yourself at risk and at harm, and you're financially helping him, but you're financially not paying your
It's
own
wild to
bills.
understand. that.
Yep.
I would
Food.
rob Peter to pay Paul
Right.
to help.
Yep. So you're putting yourself at risk for other things. You know what I mean? So that's giving you healthy boundaries set in place. Like, I love you, I care about you, but it's hard to do that. It's better said than done.
I'd rather suffer than have someone else suffer.
Yeah. But we can't do that.
Exactly. I've
If
learned that.
if I'm not okay, then how am I going to be okay for them?
Exactly.
And it's tough. It's I couldn't imagine. I can't imagine. I put my mom through same thing.
Mhm.
Sleepless
How many
nights.
years was you?
Well, I was a troublemaker since day one. So even before drugs and alcohol, I was problems. So I've been using since I was about 12 years old.
Oh.
Yeah. Now, or drugs, marijuana, doesn't matter. It's still a drug.
Mhm.
Yeah. Since I was young, and that was a problem since day one.
Mhm.
So I caused, even, and my brother is, he's finishing up 10 years now, but he also was in drug addiction. So she had 2 kids that were involved.
My son was the first ever.
Yeah. And it doesn't,
But it's like, what did I do
No,
wrong?
it
What did
doesn't.
I-
Listen, you can come back from a great background. It doesn't discriminate. It does not.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't mean you did something wrong or he did something wrong. It's part of your environment, how you're who you're hanging around with.
People, places, and things
Yeah.
with him.
100%. That still stays true to this day. People, places, and things. It doesn't matter. It don't even have to be in your family.
Mhm.
And it just that happens. So let's go to, it is extremely difficult to stand by as your loved one becomes homeless or stays in jail or faces numerous harsh consequences that come from addiction to alcohol and other drugs. But addiction denial is a common symptom in an addict's alcoholic's thought process. Most addicts won't seek help to stop using until they are forced to face the reality of the situation. Alcohol and drugs have impaired your loved one's ability to think rationally. In order for somebody who is so impaired to see their situation clearly and seek help, usually life has to scream at them to get their full attention and recovery. Lingo, this is called hitting bottom. Yep. And we have to burn everything down until we can rise. We pride on that. We have to ride it out until like everything's gone. And just keep trying and keep trying.
My niece said that one of the things that was part of her addiction was the game that she played to get the drug.
Yeah.
She started the thrill of trying to get it would be like 3 days before she actually got it, like she would start playing people and doing things, and that was
Lifestyle.
sort of the high.
It's the
She said
lifestyle.
that she didn't, Michelle, it's not just the drug itself, it's the whole thing that you're doing, that you get a high from that, it starts the high.
Yep, it's the lifestyle. It's the scheming and lying,
That-
the manipulating,
Mhm.
all that stuff that comes in play with the drug addiction, you know?
Yeah, what I didn't understand with my son living on the streets and stuff, he would help others, but not himself.
Well, there's another way behind it too. He's think we're helping others, but really we're trying to get what we want.
Well,
So it's
that's
a
true too,
compromise
but
of-
when he passed, the only way I could put it was on Facebook. And I have several individuals who have contacted me and said, I'm here today because he convinced me and he got me to where I am, and they're working in rehabs, they've been recovered,
Wow.
and, a lot of good stories, but unfortunately, he's the one that passed.
Sad. I'm sorry to hear that.
Thanks.
It's tough. I deal with grief. I deal with people that, use and pass away. It's a tough one, but I learned that it's part of what addiction is, and you don't know. It's like playing Russian roulette. Nowadays, it's a lot worse now than ever. I mean, it was bad then,
Right.
but now
It's worse.
it is worse.
And I would say, how could you be so dumb? You're so smart. Why did, and
Yeah. Listen, addiction doesn't, like
Yeah,
I said, doesn't
exactly.
discriminate.
exactly.
That's not see happen to judge, police officers.
Yeah, before he died, he told me, why.
Yeah.
He just couldn't live with certain things that his ex did.
Yeah.
and
There's trauma.
Trauma.
There's things that PTSD. There's all, there's a reason why we use drugs and alcohol. There's not
Oh,
like we just do it. And we have to. That's the things we have to work on.
Mhm.
We can't keep suppressing them with drugs and alcohol and not deal with them in a healthy way. So we self-medicate is the biggest thing.
And he was always taught by, individuals, men don't cry. I said, bull. It's that military
It's
type.
mentality,
Yes.
and that can kill us.
Exactly.
We're misinformed information,
Exactly.
and that comes from like when I was a kid, that I was product of my environment. Like I was used, and listen, it was fun at one time, right? For kids, but it was time to grow up. I partied and partied for you, me, everybody, it's just, I kept on with that
Mhm.
facade of
It's just like, when you're growing up, oh, I got into a bar at underage,
21.
man, it was thrilling,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm 21, I can go to the bar now and stuff like that.
well, underage, yeah.
That too. See?
I mean, but the one thing that, he did keep his promise, he didn't make me find him in the woods. He died in the house.
Yeah.
So, it's rough.
But now you might not want to hear this, but now you can give back.
Exactly, that's why, this was
Now you're going to be able to help
others.
families,
Mhm.
me, other people that dealt with it.
Right.
That's what I was taught to do. And I love doing it because I
How
was
long have you been clean?
coming up on 6 years in August.
Congratulations.
6 years.
Good.
Can't believe it.
How long have you been working?
Year and about 3 months or so. A little over a
That's
year.
My son wanted to, last time he got out of recovery, he was working, it was supposed to go to neighborhood. And, COVID hit, so he didn't have a job.
Price find it's probably gone.
Yeah.
The last 2 times. He clicked somewhere over there. Like,
Yeah, they usually pop up right here, like down
here you
here.
can see at the top, see the little eye, it says 1.
Oh, okay. Oh, so they're not actually logged in here. They're on, I think, YouTube or Facebook. Yeah. I didn't know you were talking about that.
So he kept that.
Yeah.
That promise, and I thanked him for that. Because I would have never known where he was.
Right. That would have been a lot harder.
Oh, yes.
Definitely a lot harder. let's see. Let's just go to. What about you when dealing with addiction has taken over your life? When we love somebody who is addicted to alcohol and drugs, we lose ourselves in their ongoing crisis. We forget that we are important too. Life is centered on helping the alcoholic or addict, or just dealing with the constant chaos their addiction creates. Our lives are thrown off balance and we become emotionally sick. Like recovery from addiction itself, recovery from family member starts with admitting that we have a problem and seeking help. There are many support groups for families and friends of alcoholics and drug addicts. Addiction is a worldwide crisis, and there are many people who share your difficulties in loving someone with addiction. Like you, they became lost in their crisis of dealing with their loved one's addiction. They found support and healing by connecting with other people who have addicted loved ones. Frequently, when you take your focus off of your sick loved one and put it back where it belongs on yourself and your own life, the addict will follow your example to seek recovery. However, this should not be your primary motivation for seeking help. Though it may not seem like it after a long, heartbreaking struggle, trying to save your loved one who has the disease of addiction, you're a valuable person and your well-being is just important. Yeah, we can lose yourself in helping others. And I know my family, they would do anything for me, but it's got to come to a point where you have to stand your ground, have healthy boundaries. It's like, I love you, I care for you, I'm willing to help you, but if you ain't willing to help yourself, there's no, you can give me all the money and drugs in the world, right? That's
not gonna.
not going to help you.
Exactly.
It's just going to make you sicker. But it's tough to say and do that. It's just not like somebody off the street.
It's not an on and off switch.
Yeah, and it's just somebody you don't know. I mean, it's easier probably to say that to somebody else that you don't know, but when it's in your family, not easier, but you know.
Right.
But it's tough. It's definitely tough, and I couldn't even imagine what I put my mom through.
Is your mom still living?
Yep. And she still supports me. She's still my wife, and
That's awesome.
that's one person that never gave up on me.
Mhm.
A lot of people have given up, but her, she stuck by my side. She still, I guess she's seen something in me that I didn't see in myself.
She had love.
Yeah. And it's sad to say, but when I was incarcerated, the many times I was incarcerated, that she knew I was safer in there than out on the street. Ain't that crazy?
I understand that to a degree because you weren't living on the streets, you were somewhere with shelter, you had food and stuff. But then the other part was like, oh my God, prisons are not safe either.
They're not.
And I'm like, how would my son?
But she did the sense of she knew where I was at. She knew where I was at.
Mhm.
She knew it's not a good place.
Right.
Jail in prison is not a good place, but she knew where I was at. I was getting fed. I had that. Yeah, there's gonna be stuff just like that. There's gonna be stuff on the street, but there's stuff gonna be in there too. And you know what? I had a more sense of a freedom in there than out on the street because I felt like
You were safer.
for some reason, like I was away from. I mean, things come through there,
Oh, yeah.
right? But it was more on the streets than anything else.
Mhm.
And that's what I needed at the time.
Mhm.
My sister was clean, and when she was clean, like she started putting her things that were messed up back into order, putting things into order.
Yep.
Paying fines, going to court, where she was just like.
They never done that.
So she was doing all that, and then she had to turn herself in because she had messed up so long that she had to turn herself in. She was so upset because she's like, I know, and this is before I realized, she's like, I know when I go in, I'm going to come up against drugs because she had been clean for a while. She's like, because they're in me.
Yeah.
So she was like, I don't want to go back in there because before it was always like, oh yeah, like I'm going in
Mhm.
because
So
to her it was like.
you're telling my story. You know something I don't know because I had to do the same thing. I had to turn myself in clean. I did 47 days clean, because I had to clean up the wreckage of my past.
Mhm.
So I had to go to 4 or 5 different municipalities. I had to pay them $7,000,
Mhm.
and I still had jail time to do.
Mhm.
And it sucked because like I was clean. I'm doing recovery.
Mhm.
I got things today, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I was like, damn, now I gotta go to jail, right? But like it was part of my immense process to the court system.
And see, my son, I mean, he went to court, he paid fines, he paid the surcharge, he was like 1 month away from getting his license back. But he was still in
It's sad.
trouble.
And my ex-girlfriend at the time when I was early in recovery, she like we were both in recovery and she was struggling or whatever, and she ended up using, well, I had suspicion of her using, and she used it one time and she died. It was on life support for days on end. It was a whole ordeal.
Was that eye-opening for you?
I want to say eye-opening. I know what comes with addiction.
Right.
I want to say eye-opening. Because my overdoses and stuff like that, I came out of. And I thought that was the same kind of deal. That, she overdosed over norm. But when I got to the hospital, I didn't know the severity of it. And then, that really hit me.
But it's from overdosing and not getting oxygen to the brain.
Yeah.
Therefore, your brain swells. My son did that. He died. And I brought him back, but he was alive for a month after. And that was horrible for the family to watch him. He was so young.
Yeah.
And I just really thought it was going to be a test. I thought he was going to come out different, but I thought it was going to be a test. And it wasn't. It was a month of torture.
Because when you lose oxygen for so long, you're not, it happens. Yeah.
I couldn't break the door down.
That's what happened to her.
I could not break the door down
I type of
to get him to get.
it was gonna happen. They didn't have Norcan or like that, but she was wedged in the door. I'm getting too graphic, but this is what happens, and they had to break in to get in the bathroom, and they revived her or whatever. But
I had to end up taking the doorknob off and try it again. It was scary.
Shame. Where was I at? All right. Let's see here. Support groups for families and friends of addicts and alcoholics. So there's more to this article. So what I usually do with these articles, sometimes I shorten them up or something don't apply to the things. But there's a lot of support groups for families. And there's a few in here, Families Anonymous, Al-Anon, Al-Anon, but there's a lot more. I want to get more information on them so I can, do a meeting on them. But I kept some of them in, and this one is Family Anonymous. Family Anonymous is a 12-step group for people with a loved one who is using drugs and alcohol addictively, suspected of drug or alcohol addiction, was an active addiction. So you ever heard of AA, NA? There's a 12-step fellowship, 12-step group. And I guess actually Family Anonymous is a 12-step group, which I didn't know. Which I think is great because as the addict, very powerful. Listen, that's how it saved my life. But I think also for the families, also you can do the 12 steps and go through their process as well. Everybody can benefit from it. Since like other 12-step groups, FA helps you to focus on your own healing and growth through working the 12 steps and connecting with others who are going through the same ordeal. Families Anonymous comes highly recommended by therapists. If you're attending Al-Anon or Al-Anon team and you didn't connect, you could try attending FA meetings. There are no costs for participation. The group's expense are paid through small voluntary contributions by members. If you cannot afford to kick in any money, you are still welcome to attend. Find nearby Family Anonymous meetings by visiting their website or calling FA Central Office, either in the U.S. or internationally. Yeah, so I guess there's like 12-step groups for families, and that's awesome. Like I want to look into more of that so I can have more information on it. But yeah, everybody can benefit from like a 12-step group, and That's one of the reasons why I'm here today.
Not to get personal, but did your mother ever go for,
I don't think,
Support,
I think she might have like here and there did a couple of like therapy sessions or whatever,
Mhm.
which is, I think, needed,
Mhm.
you know? You know, they also need, like I said earlier, they still need their healing process. Because, you know, for example, you still deal with grief and
Mhm.
stuff
Oh, yeah.
that your son,
it can be
You
just
know?
a smell, or
yeah,
just
so
somebody mentioned the name, you know?
we all need help. You know,
Mhm.
we all need help. We all need support. And, you know, it's a tough thing to deal
Yeah,
with.
I dealt with a lot of judgment,
Mhm.
you know, from individuals at work. You know,
Yeah,
they just didn't understand. I said, don't ever think it can't happen to you or your child.
they never probably been in it. So
Exactly.
that's why they judge. You can't
Exactly.
judge.
A book
somebody-
science cover.
Yeah, like, or they would say, oh, I don't know, I don't want to get into that. Or, how could you do that? Why are you doing that? Well, you never been in a situation. You know what I mean? So you can't say
Right.
thanks, you know, until it hits your home.
Or
then you
you'll
find
get
out.
over it.
Yeah,
Ooh.
it's different. It's
Yeah.
different when
Or
you're
you have
going
other
through it.
children. It still doesn't replace that one.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Definitely get it. So here's one. Al-Anon is a 12-step group for people with a loved one who is alcoholic. This one is an alcoholic. This group was founded by the wives of the two men who founded Alcoholics Anonymous, Lewis Wilson and Ann Smith. Having an alcoholic loved one is an overwhelming problem which causes a great deal of emotional pain and dysfunction. There is no other way to describe the behavior of an active alcoholic than selfish, irrational, self-destructive, and abusive. Yeah, that was just going over the surface of some things. There's a lot more to it. Yeah, self-centeredness is that's like the core of our disease, selfishness, self-centered. I would do things and say things that I didn't care about anybody, about myself.
It's all about you.
Yeah, it's all about me what I want. You know, I ain't like,
And you're gonna do whatever you have to do to get it.
yeah, for sure. And it's like, I always say, it's nothing personal. It's just the disease had me in the grip.
You're a different person when you're on that.
Yeah, for sure. It's like night and day.
It's like, that's not my son, that's the drug thing, that's. my
Yeah,
son.
it's the disease of
And people
addiction.
just don't understand.
And you know what? People don't understand too. It's not just about drugs and alcohol. There's many addictions that
Exactly.
have just like using drugs and alcohol. There's sex,
I'm
there's
addicted to
drugs.
vaping and smoking now,
Right.
you know, I used to.
Gambling.
And I
There's
stopped.
all types of addictions.
Exactly,
Can.
but they look at them differently.
Yeah. But it's not
It's-
because it's justifiable. It's not as bad.
Right.
You know, it's not as bad. Listen, I was a problem child just smoking marijuana. Right. I was still lying, stealing, and causing chaos in the neighborhood. So, because people look at marijuana and alcohol as different,
Mhm.
you know, and which is really not,
Mhm.
you know. So, and yet you sense that your loved one is ill and not able to be their self. You never give up hope for their recovery. The painful ordeal of living an alcoholic can take over your entire life so that you become emotionally sick too. Al-Anon members learn to lead happy, fulfilling lives whether or not their loved one recovers from alcoholism. Al-Anon, we begin the path of healing by working the first step of recovery. Meaning that we are powerless over our alcohol and our lives have become unmanageable. As we work the remaining steps, we let go of trying to control alcoholic and focus on our own behavior and healing. And that it still touches on like losing yourself in that, losing yourself in other people's addiction. You know, it's just very unhealthy. You know, we want to love and care for somebody and help them, but we're losing yourself in
Yeah,
the
we can
process.
get lost too.
Yeah, because you're like in the grind with them,
Mhm.
trying to look for them, paying this and helping them out. So it's like
Right.
you're
And
right
then your
there
mental
running with
health
them,
starts to,
and you can build resentments, right? So you're helping them, and you're building resentments at the same time. You know, so it's very unhealthy. you know, because you lose yourself in the mix also, which is sad, you know, because then you lose yourself, then you're no good to nobody.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then you start to lose focus on your other relationships, so that
Causes other issues.
other issues for sure. You know, that stems from a lot more than
Especially one who doesn't understand
Mhm.
anything.
Oh, you're gonna bump heads.
Were
Yeah. I think you'll laugh at that one.
we just talking about that?
Yeah, you'll be bumped. Yeah, you causing
It's still the
arguments and
same, it
fights.
still has not,
Yeah,
hasn't even gotten done.
because I don't know, get personal, but it's got to be dealt with in a healthy way. If he's not well, like just like if the addict gets recovery and is doing 12 steps and doing this,
Mhm.
but you're not helping yourself, you're still going to clash.
Correct.
You know what I mean? So it's like that stuff needs to be dealt with in a healthy
And
way.
if one of the relationship doesn't understand the addiction or whatever, and they can't just assume that somebody can stop, and this person is trying to help and do what they have to, oh boy, it's a big.
It's like how do you want to say, milk and gas? Like it's
Exactly.
I don't know why I came up with that. It just sounded good.
Gas and sugar.
It's not something. It just doesn't mix.
It doesn't
But yeah, that's why it's like family therapy,
Mhm.
you know, counseling, individual counseling, together, you do some counseling, so that it needs to be dealt with. Like if you keep brushing under the rug and leaving things you go right back to it. It's a vicious circle. And we still can do this today without drug and alcohol.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't deal with things in a healthy way or take care of it, it's just going to keep festering, festering.
And then
festering.
one just says, forget it.
Yep,
It's not even worth it.
yep. It's tough. Let's see here. Where are we at? All right. So in Al and I, we learned to set healthy boundaries with others. Stop trying to control or manipulate other behaviors. Stop enabling addiction. Let go of saving another person. Take responsibility for our own life and behavior. Prioritize our own well-being. And we're going to stop right at this last part. Maintain serenity and joyful living no matter how other people behave. Like other 12-step groups, Al-Anon is funded by the small voluntary contributions of members. If you do not have any money, you're welcome to attend. Al-Anon has groups all over the world. No matter where you live, you can find a local meeting or attend an online group. Yeah, it talks about online groups. There's a lot of online meetings nowadays. But I highly suggest if you struggle with somebody in addiction or have, you know, you're going to have to go through your process of healing and dealing, just like the addict does.
And it doesn't happen overnight.
It does. See, I say the same thing because I'm in recovery. It doesn't happen overnight. Like,
It
making
takes years,
amends.
it's your own time.
Yep.
You know, you may not ever get over it, you just learn how to
Kind
deal.
of cope
Yeah.
and deal with it. Yeah, things I guarantee my family still, just cope with. Stuff still arises. Emotions and feelings and thoughts still arise.
Mhm.
I'm not like it just doesn't go away,
Exactly.
right? But recovery teaches me to how I can deal with it,
Mhm.
which is needed for the family and the addict, for sure. Because if you want healthy relationships and healthy communication, I did a meeting earlier on healthy communication. That's big, having coping skills, healthy communication.
Tried it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Well, it takes two to tango. We need
it's rough.
right.
it's rough.
One person can't do it and the other can't. It's not gonna work. What is it? Gas and milk? Did I say? It
Yeah.
doesn't mix.
Or can't admit that,
How's your relationship with your mom now?
Great. She never gave up on me. She's there if I need anything. But I don't use her today. That's what the good thing is. She's willing to help me, and it's not like manipulating me.
Right.
Well, I'm not manipulating her. It's just like truly like concerned. Do you need anything? Help? Like I support myself today, and I can help her in any type of way. That's the giving back.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So yeah, a lot of my relationships that I had, I don't hang out with or choose to discuss with people that I used to use with.
Mhm.
I see them, say hi and goodbye. If you need help, I'm here to help you. But like my family, my friends that is close to me, like I mended them relationships. And that's not by just saying I'm sorry, right? To
Living it.
live in
Living
it.
it.
'Cause I
Living
hate
that
that.
living example.
I gave that story so many times. I'm sorry. I'll never do it again. Right? I
Did you mean it
stopped.
when you said it though?
Huh?
When you said it, did you mean it?
I had pretty good intentions. You know what I mean? But like, I was so wrapped up, didn't really care. You know, with empty promises of like, I'll stop, I'll never do it again, this and that. But like, since I've been in recovery, I made my verbal amends of like, I'm sorry,
Mhm.
but I didn't repeat the same mistake as I did before. I took action,
Mhm.
and these people see me today. Like they
Right.
see the change in me, not that person no more. You can tell when somebody's BSing you. Well, I can anyway. I can spot from a mile away. So,
How many you can?
huh?
Not everybody can.
No, not everybody can, for sure.
It's hard sometimes.
Mhm.
But it's if you don't come from that background. So you've been in that background, so you kind of,
That, yes, yep.
you can't always, like.
If you got it, I can spot it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or kind of deal, you know? 'Cause I played the game before, you know, so I can see other people coming to
Everything
that.
comes, yeah.
And you know, and like dealing with your son or anybody else, we see things, we pick up on things after a while. So you get that mentality of the same stuff as the streets. It's
Mhm.
crazy how, you know, because we pick up on it, you know? So,
Mhm.
it's tough. It's tough to deal with, you know, it's tough to, heal.
Mhm.
You know, it takes time. Your process is your process. It happens for you, which is gonna happen for me.
Right.
It's two different things.
And we take two different paths.
Yeah, all pathways are welcome,
Mhm.
you know. So that was our end of our family meeting for the day. Support groups for families of the drug addict and alcoholic person. And if you like this article, it's at AmericanAddictionFoundation.com. My name's Carl. I'm a recovery coach at Cap Recovery Center. Until next time, we'll see you later.
And thank you for sharing.
You're welcome. Thank you.